What if God moved a small group of people in 1963 to plant a church that would be a light to their community?
That would minister to the students from the college next door.
That would teach the Bible to people near and far.
What if that church grew to have a dynamic children's and youth program?
An international ministry that welcomed people from all nations.
And a ministry that shares the gospel with hundreds of men and women in the Oklahoma jails and prison systems each year.
What if that church, planted by a few, became the spiritual home to thousands in the Oklahoma City area?
You know, it is amazing how God has blessed this congregation. From the 25 that first met on that July 7, 1963 date to the present, who would have imagined that this congregation would have over 2,500 members? And it is amazing how the impact of this congregation has had a worldwide influence.
Clap your hands.
What if the Spirit moved that church in the middle of Oklahoma to plant other churches in places all around the world?
Churches that met needs in Africa.
Churches that reached neighbors in Vienna.
Churches that minister to families in Brazil.
What if God prompted that Oklahoma church to plant churches not only far away, but close to home?
In the inner city of Capitol Hill, just 20 minutes away.
In the neighborhoods of Oakdale, just across I-35.
What if church planting were part of that church's DNA?
One of the pillars of the charter eldership and members here at Memorial Road was to give mission work a high priority. That truly is fulfilling the mission of sharing God's love to transform people into devoted followers of Jesus Christ.
I think it's important that we get the gospel message out, not just internationally, but also locally. And there's so many spots in Oklahoma City, in the metro Oklahoma area, where people just won't go out of their area. So for Memorial Road to be able to establish a work in different areas that have not been touched upon will help those people to grow spiritually and then perhaps come out of their comfort zone and help fulfill the Great Commission.
What if God called his family at Memorial Road to plant a new church in the rapidly growing area of North Edmond?
A church that would reach out to these newly established neighborhoods.
A church started by people who sacrificed and served.
What if the Spirit was inviting you to grow along with these newly established streets and families?
To become a spiritual home for thousands more in the Edmond area.
My wife and I had lived here in this North Edmond area for about 9 years, and the growth that we have observed is really terrific.
We're at the Mitch Park Y, and if you look in a 3-mile radius of this area, you'll find there are 36,000 people that live in this part of Edmond. What's interesting about that is that a majority of them live south of this area. North of this area is a lot of open land and open opportunity for Edmond to continue to grow.
There's so many neighborhoods that are just getting off the ground, and everything is kind of up and coming. And so this is such a great time to bring a church up here and bring people together and get in on the ground floor to be able to weave right into the fabric of what we're trying to build up here.
What if God is calling us as a church, and many of us as individual Christians,
to plant a new church among the unique culture and growing young adult population of Midtown OKC?
What if this church could bless people by inviting them to serve alongside of Christians, doing good and being introduced to Jesus, the source of all good?
How powerfully could God use a group of 20 to 30 Christians who are willing to live in Midtown with the mission of helping to plant a church there?
Over 76,000 people live within a 3-mile radius of where we are sitting in Brown's Bakery.
And over 5,000 young adults live within a 1-mile radius here near Blue Garden.
Brown's Bakery would be a great place to plant a church because it's a well-known Oklahoma City establishment that serves delicious food, but also it provides a non-threatening environment for those who might be a little shy about coming to a traditional church building.
Areas like Blue Garden are just so popular on the weekends, especially with the young adult population, that planting a church down here would be an excellent way to reach those in the young adult generation.
Church planting really was in the very vision of Jesus for the church even before the church existed. In Matthew 28, Mark 16, Luke 24, and then explicitly in Acts 1:8, Jesus told his apostles right before he ascended to heaven, 10 days before the church began on the day of Pentecost, that they would be his witnesses in Jerusalem, in Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth, expanding concentric circles, going out culturally and geographically and religiously. And so that tells us that Jesus wanted his disciples, his followers, not just the apostles, but for future generations, to be committed to taking his message of salvation, of love, of forgiveness to those nearby and to those all around the world.
You look around at our city and at the amazing resources that God has blessed us with here at Memorial Road. And it's easy to ask, what if? What if he is calling us, calling you, to step out from the familiar, to reach people that need to know Jesus? The harvest is so plentiful, and we have workers. So what if we planted a church in North Edmond? Or what if we planted a church in Midtown Oklahoma City? What if we did both?